In trading, knowledge is power, and lack of knowledge in what you're doing can be costly, very costly. So you need a solid foundation of quality market education. Whether you're new to trading or a seasoned veteran looking to add advanced strategies to your arsenal, there's always something to learn and something to improve on. And now you can access the same knowledge that professional traders receive with Market Rebellion's Trading Education. I'm Bill Johnson, Head of Options Education here at Market Rebellion, and we've assembled a comprehensive curriculum based on decades of real trading experience, covering everything you need to know about trading options from beginner to advanced. We go way beyond the nuts and bolts of options theory to teach you how to apply specific trading strategies and the techniques needed to adapt your trades when markets shift. Regardless of your goals, you'll gain access to the education you need with easy-to-consume lessons so you can learn to trade with confidence, enhance your knowledge, and master the practical skills required for market success. So please join us for in-depth trading education only from Market Rebellion.
Hey, good afternoon once again to all of our market rebels, and today from a very rainy South Florida. Stu, what's it looking like your way?
Bright and sunny, never been better.
When does that ever happen? When you guys get the sun?
Never, not too often.
Never. But rain or shine, we've got a very cool topic for you here, so we always try to bring. But this one is really going to hit home with a lot of traders. And I think we're probably going to get a lot of pushback on here. But as I say, that's good, because it shows that you're thinking. We're pushing some buttons here. Blind thinking is not good, but if it's it's forcing you to think about the way that you think that options work, that's good. So we're going to be kind of going against the grain of what a lot of people believe. But like we always say in our Q&As, what we want to do is to show people how markets work. We want to show you the math and the physics of it and get away from here's what I think. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get started with this. And as always, kind of a theme we've been talking about here, Stu. One of my favorite quotes from Thomas Sowell, the economist: "There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs." I don't think you can say it much better in the world of options. That's what this whole game is about trade-offs. It's never about, oh, I did this or I got a credit. Well, that might be true, but that's not the end of the story. Where did that credit come from?
No, isn't that really part of the whole learning curve thing?
It's a part of the way the world works. Exactly.
People just say, yeah, well, this one's better because I'm doing blah, blah, but they don't say, what did I give up to get it?
That's right. And the reason that's the way that the world works is anything that you say yes to, you are also saying no to lots of other things. There's always some kind of a trade-off. And this right here is a very important mind shift for traders. And that's what we're going to be hitting today. And again, probably going to hit some nerves with some people because it's a topic that a lot of people
that's okay.
Adamantly believe in, but we're going to show you what's really going on. So let's start off with our Chalk Talk question, a little thought-provoking question for today. We'll answer it at the end. So here we go. Stu, you ready?
Yeah.
You bought a $100 call. So far, so good.
100 strike price, right? Yeah.
$100 call. You sold a 105 call. Question for you, drum roll please. Did you hedge theta? Let's answer. How do most people answer this? Overwhelming what?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course. That's the reason that you sell the call, is to hedge theta. Well, let's hit the yellow light here a little bit.
Well, that's not why I would sell it, but I think.
Well, that's because you understand exactly what we're talking about here. And that's what we're going to try to convey to everybody else. So here's our topic for today. Are you hedging theta? And this is a very hot topic. Most traders think theta is the enemy. The whole game is about fighting theta.
And if you believe that you are hedging theta, does that give you an edge?
and
Or does
doesn't give
that
you an
give you
edge.
an advantage? Does that give you a
Right.
lead up on somebody or something else?
The whole argument just chain reacts through the whole thing. There's so many spin-offs of this illusion as we're going to show. So let's talk about hedging theta. So we buy a $100 call, let's say it's 8. And of course, traders fear theta, the big enemy. So they might see that the 105 call is trading for 6. So they use the 100, 105 vertical and they'll say, well, I'll use this $6 cash to offset the effects of time decay or theta. So in this case, we would be buying the 100, 105 vertical for a net debit of 2. But the main thing that they're seeing is, oh, I don't want to spend 8 and potentially watch this bleed away, actually guaranteed to bleed away no matter what happens. So if I collect 6, I've minimized or negated the effects of time decay.
And
So
and here's an offshoot of that. So I lowered my cost basis.
well, and that's
And,
another way
and
of
it
looking at
makes
it.
them feel really good because now you have a
Right.
low cost basis.
Correct. Right. Same illusion, different story. So the question we want to look at here, are you really hedging time decay? So we want you to think out there, what's your answer? We kind of talked about it up front. 99% of the traders are going to say, well, of course. What else? That's the whole purpose of the strategy. Challenge time. First of all, let's zoom out a little bit and just talk about time. Getting more into the physics of it as opposed to the options side of it. Time moves in one direction at the same speed. You cannot alter time. You cannot hedge time. So if you buy the $100 call, you don't alter the clock. No matter what you pair that with, that $100 call is moving through time at the same speed as every other clock on the wall. You're not altering the clock. So just because you put the $100 call and pair it up with something, that $100 call doesn't know that in this case the 105 call is there. It doesn't say, oh, good thing the 105 call is here. Now I can decay slower. That's an illusion. The $100 call decays at exactly the same rate if you buy it by itself or pair it off with other things. So you cannot hedge time. And because of that, we've talked about this before in our Q&A, time isn't a risk. There's a big shocker right there. We told you we're going to get some pushback from people, but think about it. What is risk? Risk is always about uncertainty, the unknowns, right? Stock prices are uncertain. Earnings will be uncertain. Time is not uncertain. Tomorrow still arrives tomorrow. In 30 days, we know that the 30-day option will be up. We know that with 100% certainty. So think about this, Stu. It's probably the only thing in the options market that you, or even in the entire stock market, that you can predict with 100% certainty, the passage of time. So why are we calling it a risk when it's perfectly predictable? See, right there, that's what sets up a lot of the illusions for traders. So on a professional level, what we like to say is that time decay is a characteristic of an option. It's just part of what it is. And that's because, yes, it has an expiration date, but it's not really a risk. And if you see it as a risk, you're going to be setting up your whole trading strategies and everything about, I've got to combat theta. And it's just a really bad way to go about it. So what exactly are you doing then if you sell a call, if you're not hedging theta? Well, let's go find out. And if you like topics like this, you can join us every Tuesday, Thursday. Take a screenshot right there. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday in our Lunch Crunch Q&A. We have a beginner intermediate on Tuesday, advanced on Thursday. Topics just like this. So we'd love to have you. If you want to join us, please do that. So let's start off here, Stu. Let's say that we have our $100 call in black, got unlimited gains. And then I say, I'm going to sell off the 105 call. And look what I did. You brought this up. I lowered my cost basis. It's not down here at 8, it's up here at 2. And I'm going to take that $6 and I'm going to apply it to my theta. So therefore I've offset theta. So how can you argue that?
So
I've clearly offset theta.
Can we do a quick timeout here?
Absolutely.
It looks like something radically changed here.
Yeah,
These
professionals
don't
tend
look
to see that.
anything like each other. you've changed your exposure, you've changed your delta,
There's the
changed
key word.
a lot of things here.
Lots of things changed. And that's the key word, is the exposure. Changing the exposure kind of implies that we've changed delta, we've changed vega, we've changed lots of things.
Not only have you changed your cash flow, i.e. theta, you've changed a
Cost
whole
basis.
bunch of other things as well.
Right. Correct. And that's part of the point. You can say that I reduced my cost. We can clearly see that. But don't stop there. We also gave up the upside. We also crushed our deltas. We crushed our gamma. All kinds of things that we've changed. So now, here's where the illusion breaks down, because again, I know we're going to get people pushing back and saying, oh, that's nonsense. Of course they hedge theta. Well, then let me ask you out there in YouTube land, if selling the 105 call is good because we've hedged theta, watch this. There's our 105 call. There's our bend at 105. Stu, I'm now going to make the argument I can do better than that. If doing a partial hedge is good, doing an even better partial hedge.
You're not going to go down and strike, are you?
We think too much alike. Exactly right. What if I sell the 104 call? Now I've hedged theta even more.
So let me get this straight. So you're going to go from a 50 delta call to a 30 delta spread. Now you're going to go
if you're lucky
further and make it a 20 delta spread. What I'll tell you what. How about if you do this, Bill? Why don't you just sell 100 call?
Oh, hold on. Hold on
and make it a flat line, and then you don't have any risk at all.
You're way ahead. You're too good with this stuff. You're thinking
how dumb this gets.
So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that if traders want to pound the table about selling the 105 call is great and I'm hedging theta, well, why didn't you sell the 104 call?
Bill, I think you should sell a 95 call and make it a credit.
Well,
and then you're guaranteed to make money.
Hold on. We're going to get there. So what if we go...
You can have so much fun with this.
Let's sell the 103. And now I've really hedged theta. I'm an amazing trader because I have really hedged theta. But hold on a second. Why don't we sell the 102 call and hedge it even more? See, hopefully everybody out there in YouTube land is going, but wait a minute, aren't you drastically changing what you're after? That's what we want to do. If you make it extreme to where it becomes obvious, that's when people say, all right, I see your point. But if we just do it once with the 105 call, people say, brilliant, you hedged theta. Well, why don't we keep going? Why don't we sell the 101 strike? Now I've really hedged theta. Or, as you mentioned, I love this for an argument. If a partial hedge is a phenomenal, brilliant strategy because we've hedged theta by selling the
100% hedge.
The 105. What's wrong with a 100% hedge? Let's go ahead and knock the whole beast out of the equation. Yeah. I'm going to buy the 100 call, and I'm going to sell the 100 call. And now, Stu, you cannot argue it. I have fully hedged my theta.
You have?
What have you got to say about that?
I'd say I'd probably rather just go out and get a pizza because nothing's going to happen here.
In other words, now we have no exposure.
Right.
See, that's the whole argument, is that you are altering your exposure and you are choosing, not necessarily correctly, but you're choosing to take that cash, looking at your Excel spreadsheet and say, I want to apply that cash in the theta column. But that's not what's happening. You're selling off valuable parts of real estate of that bell curve. Now, let's take it a step further. You already hinted at this. If selling the 100 call gives us a 100% hedge, why don't we go even more? Why don't we offset the entire cost? I can have a what? Negative cost basis. I could have a credit. I could have a free option. I can get that $100 call, Stu, for free.
For free. Not only can I get it for free, I can have the market pay me for it.
I can have the market pay me for it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the 95 call. Now what have you got to say for yourself? Now you can't argue it. I have got more than covered the cost of that 100 call, right? Lower strike calls have to be worth more no matter what cost the 100 is. The 95 has to be at least $5 more than that. So it's got to be more. I have more than offset this cost. What's your argument now, Stu?
Well,
it's hard to even find a starting point, right? Because it's like so many places to hit. What's the bit most obvious?
Well, this is when I say to my student, well, didn't you tell me you thought the stock was going up? I mean,
Yeah.
aren't you bullish here? And now you have a short delta
Now you
position.
got short deltas. You think that
So
might
what
be a
is it,
problem?
dude? Are you looking for long delta or are you looking for short deltas? It kind of goes back to like, what do you want?
Exposure.
What are you
The,
looking
the
for?
key word is exposure. What type of exposure are you looking for? Not can I get a credit and just call it hedging theta. That's a complete illusion. So take a look at this. Here's another way. People might say, well, all right, yeah, you guys are over exaggerating stuff. No, we want this 5 point distance. All right, fine. Let's hit it from another angle. If selling one call is a partial hedge and is good, why don't I sell it twice? That should be better. What's your argument now, Stu?
If the stock gets bought out, I'm going to have a huge
You're
problem.
going to have a huge problem. You've got negative deltas up here. Yes, we do have a credit on this side, but that's not the end of the story. What if we sell it 2 times? I'm sorry, 3 times. Now I've got an even bigger credit. Look at my credit column. I have more than offset theta. I'm a genius trader.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, this is your typical front ratio spread
Yep.
where you're selling. It's net contracts, right?
Selling more than you own.
You're selling more than you own, and when you get those tail moves, you're
It's
looking
deadly.
at some short deltas, which means uh, minus P&Ls.
That's right. So the thing that we want you to really focus on here is that, yes, you are getting a credit when you sell an option, but that's because there's an attached obligation. If you choose to say, I want to take that credit and just call it a hedge against theta, feel free to do so, but that's not what you're doing. You cannot hedge time. All you're doing is saying, I'm choosing to sell off part of the distribution.
Yeah, if you
And
really want to play with the whole theta theme, just make sure just make it a cash flow thing.
make it a cash flow thing, not a theta thing.
Money out, money in. Am I going to
Right.
hedge the money out thing? Yeah, you are, but also, what are you getting also when you do that?
No solutions, only trade-offs. Right. So let's go back to our bell curve. We've seen this many times. Stock prices move, or stock price changes, I should say, move according to a bell curve. We know there's about a 68% chance you're going to land somewhere in the blue. One standard deviation. Two standard deviations is 95% chance that you will fall somewhere in there, and virtually 100% chance that you will fall somewhere within three. Now check this out. This gets super interesting, and this is where traders miss the point in saying, oh, I sold the 105 call. I'm brilliant. I hedged theta. But watch this. Here's one of the trade-offs. If we look at our bell curve, there's the center. We know that everything to the right of this arrow, this part of this little wedge blue plus the red, is 50%. Right? Everything to the left is 50%, half of the area lines up here. If we look at just this blue area to the right of the arrow, right there, that is 25% of the area. The red is 25% of the area. So look at the difference in there. If we look at just the area, those two are equal. But look at how much of that sits out here into the red. Now, when it comes to options, it gets even more distorted because we're not trading area, we're trading area times payoff. So the area shrinks quite rapidly, but the payoff grows in a straight line linearly. So watch this. Your option value is cut in half here at about 1.18 standard deviations. In other words, half of the option value lies in this blue plus red, and the other half lies in the green. So this is why it's also deceiving when traders say, I got the stock move up to here, let me get out. Because they're anchoring to, I only paid in $1 for the option. Look at my percentage gain. And they're not realizing you're just getting into the valuable part of the curve. That's why you're getting the credit to offset your theta. It is not for free. You're selling off a very valuable part of the curve. So here's kind of an analogy, Stu. I like using exaggerated ones because it's to drive the point. Let's say that you buy a lottery ticket. You got to match 6 numbers. You paid $1. You certainly don't want to lose that dollar, right? We got to hedge that. I'm going to talk like traders here. Now the lottery comes up. You draw the first number, you matched it. Draw the second number, you matched it. The third, you matched it. The fourth, you've matched. The fifth, you've matched. And now you say, somebody's offering to buy that ticket for 20 bucks. I just made 20x. I'm going to sell my ticket and move on. See, that's trader talk. You're anchoring to the dollar that you paid, but what's in Philadelphia, it's worth what?
$50, my friend.
But now the market's saying, oh, no, no. A ticket with 5 out of 6 guaranteed is
It's
not
worth
the
a
same.
hell of a lot more.
A whole lot more, and you're selling it because you're anchoring to the dollar that you paid. It's mind-bogglingly bad, and yet that's what traders do. They're getting right here where the lottery ticket is just about to start paying off, and they say, let me sell it because I'm afraid of something that's not even a risk. Let's take it a step further. Fun to blow these illusions out of the water. Here's another one. You buy 100 shares, you sell the 105 call. What is that, Stu?
I think it's called a buy rate covered
It is
call.
called covered call. Okay, so there's your covered call. Now, what's the purpose of the 105 call here, according to most traders?
It's an income generator.
Income generator, right? What else does it do for your stock?
Well, it's supposed to protect the downside,
But
but
it gives you a
caps your upside.
little bit of a downside hedge, caps
Little
the
bit.
upside. Now, so far, this is what I have in my account, and I turn around and I buy the 100 call. And traders gasp and go, oh my God, you've got theta here. You are exposed to a wicked amount of theta. That's the enemy. You got to do something here. Right? So this becomes their focal point. I'm seeing this long call. All right, now watch this. What if I dump my shares? Now traders say, oh, wait a second. I can pair that with that, and now everything's good. Now you have a theta hedge. My argument is, why can the click of a mouse change the 105 call's job? Why was it protecting the stock and now it's becoming a theta hedge? See, it's an illusion. It's just people choose to call it that. They don't understand we sold off a valuable part of the real estate, the bell curve, and we just choose to apply it to theta.
In order to make that argument, everyone, you got to come up with the idea that the 105 call and the covered call was actually protecting the downside.
Exactly.
But people don't really like to do that. They just want to say, hey, let me throw this out there and I'll sell it and I'll kind of hope the stock doesn't go up, which is ridiculous because why else would you stock? But they, buy into well, I'm going to create this flow of money, I'm going to pick an apple off the tree and call it money. And without any obligation, I'm just going to call it an income generator over time, which might work and it might not work. But what are you giving up to get it? Right. Like the call is the call is the call. That didn't change.
That's what we said. And the clock on the wall didn't change.
Nothing really changed, but your perception of what it's doing.
There you go.
Changed.
That's the key. That's why we call it an illusion. This $100 call doesn't know that the 105 call is in the account. It doesn't know that the $100 or 100 shares of stock is in the account. This $100 call is facing the same theta whether you have the short 105 call against it or not. But part of my point is, if I can, actually the old Trade Monster platform used to let you do this. You could click and drag. I could say, here's my 100 shares of stock, and I want to pair it up with the 105 call so I can see it as a covered call. Or I could click on the 105 call and drag it down here, and it would label it as a vertical spread. So the point is, why can the mouse click alter the theta? The answer that should be clear in saying it can't. It's your perception of it. And if you're trading on perceptions and specifically illusions, that's when you're going to make mistakes. Let's look at another one. I got a whole list of them, Stu. I know you do too, but here's one we could also look at. SPX dividends. Pair your SPX dividends with the $100 call. Why can't I say that that's a hedge against theta? It's cash in.
I guess you could. There's cash flow, right?
Cash flow. Now, but see, traders will say, no, that's not right, because the spread has the same underlying. It has the same time to expiration. It has a name.
It's just how you allocate the money.
Right. See, we give it a special name, a vertical spread, and now it seems like it has this special property of hedging time. Here's another one we've talked about in Q&A. I'm going to create my own strategy here, everybody. I have a time decay hedge called the covered garage sale. Check this one out. We're going to buy that $100 call for 8. We're going to hold a garage sale, and I'm going to deposit the cash into the account, and now I've hedged theta. And now this might be the most efficient theta hedge because I'm not giving up any upside. So how's that for a theta hedge? See, the whole thing gets blown out of the water when you start realizing all you're doing is selling off something of value, the valuable right part of that tail, and choosing erroneously to say it belongs in the theta column. Now, this is where traders get stuck. We have all of these descriptions of a covered call or the benefits of a vertical spread. So here's the description I came up, Stu. We're going to use it in our seminars here to show you the value of the covered garage sale. So the covered garage sale combines the upside potential of long calls with the stable cash flow characteristics of unwanted household items. By strategically liquidating old exercise equipment, VHS tapes, and baseball cards, traders can generate external cash flows that help offset the detrimental effects of time decay. See, now it sounds brilliant. But when you realize you're going, it's just cash in, it exposes the illusion. And that's what we're trying to show. It is an absolute illusion. The clock on the wall moves at the same speed, and that $100 call does not know that anything else is in the account. It decays at exactly the same rate, whether you sold anything against it or not. So what's really happening? Selling calls alters your risk profile.
That's it right there.
You're changing the exposure period. You're
That's it.
selling off probability. In fact, ironically, you're selling off the very benefits that you supposedly wanted. You're saying, I want this convexity, I want the limited downside, but I want to get into this expensive part of the distribution. And we say, oh, but wait a minute, it's going to decay. Well, of course it's going to decay. It has an expiration date. What did you expect? It's not a risk. It's just it's really, I call it a receipt to show that convexity was there. You could also, if you say I sold off convexity, now it doesn't look like it's free money or that you're hedging time. You sold off some serious value there.
So look, everyone, we are not saying
it's bad.
We are not saying don't do a spread. We are not saying
we do them all the time in
don't
ICF.
sell the call. We are not saying anything like that. We're going to have to say that disclaimer every time these days.
Yeah, somebody's going to post it. Well, Bill and Stu said spreads are bad.
No.
Never said it.
Absolutely not. I do these things all the time.
We do two of them. Yeah, we do them actually. Two of them, don't we, in the ICF?
In the instant cash flow, right? So just understand that it's not money falling from the heavens.
Correct.
And that it has an obligation attached to it. And
correct.
You have to, be okay with playing that portion of the distribution and it's in a lot. We talked about this last night. In a lot of ways, that can help you get into a stock that, into a movement that you think a stock might have.
You normally wouldn't have been able to
otherwise not have been able to get into.
But at least you're doing it for the right reasons, not because I have to offset theta.
And here's another thing. I hear this bad decisions too. I'm going to sell a call on Friday to hedge the weekend's decay.
Yeah.
And then I'll take it off on Monday. Well, number one, you may not have a chance to take it off. And number two, when you're selling it on Friday, there's a really good chance that option, because the way the streaming quotes run, is already discounted into the weekend by the prior to that.
You don't think the buyer knows that? The buyer's going to go, holy smokes, what happened on Monday morning? I got crushed. Of course the buyer knows that. That's why it usually comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
You didn't pull a fast one.
Pieces of a time. It's a clock. It's ticking on Friday. We used to we use the Sunday date on Friday, kind of.
Correct.
But so that's already kind of being taken into account. But don't fool yourself into thinking that, well, I'll just take it off over Monday morning and
that makes me a brilliant trader because I know about theta.
You might miss the 5% gap Monday morning, or
there you go.
Or you'll say, oh, this stock doesn't really look so hot. I'll just leave it on and collect the money, and before you know it, you gave up your upside. So just know all of that. That's all we're saying. Just know what you have, know what you're getting, know what you're giving up, and then you can make an educated decision and be okay with it. Live with it. No regrets.
Yeah. I've always said that too, that on Friday, people say, I'm going to get out on Friday That makes me a brilliant trader. Why? Because it's going to get whacked on Monday. You don't think the buyer knows that? What did you just do? You sold off your upside at probably fair value. That's not a brilliant trader. Doesn't mean it's a bad decision, but it's not some kind of a mind-bendingly great decision because of time decay. The market knows that. The market just moves the line. So hopefully, we've kind of hammered this point home, but we hear it all the time in Q&A. And the benefits of leaps because they have lower theta. That's another illusion. People misinterpret this stuff all the time. So let's go back to our Chalk Talk question. You bought a $100 call, you sold a 105 call. That looks familiar, what we were just talking about. Did you hedge theta? So what do you all think? Hopefully you see, no, you did not hedge theta. Why? Because you're not altering the clock. If you were truly hedging time, physicists would suddenly be a lot more interested in vertical spreads. You're not altering time. You're just selling off a valuable portion of that bell curve and choosing to say, I want to apply it to theta. But again, that's an illusion. The $100 call doesn't know that the 105, short 105 is in there. It's
Aren't there
going to,
like cosmetic products out there that sell the idea of you can
yeah,
stop the
slowing,
clock?
exactly. And that's kind of what traders are saying. I'm going to hedge theta. But if you really think about it, that can't be what you're doing. The clock on the wall still moves at the same pace, whether you have that 105 call in the account or not. So again, that's why it's an illusion. So we hope that that gives you some very good things to think about. Let us know for those of you in our Q&A. We have a feeling that there's going to be a little bit of pushback or at least some sincere questions, and that's going to make you a better trader.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So with that, I think that's a good time to wrap it up here, Stu. We will see you on what Q&A Thursday, and then we've got Coach's Corner here that'll be up at 5 p.m. on Thursday. So we've got lots of good stuff to come up, and we hope you enjoy that, and we'll see you then.